Good day, everyone. Good day, Sir Harris. We are the Group 6 from C1A. Today, we're going to present our program about encryption and decryption with the flowchart. So, before we proceed for the flowchart, I just wanted to introduce with my group mates. With Winnie Estrella, with Leo Ramirez, with Hans Mateo Go, and Roy Fitzgerald Torres, and me, Faith Paz. Then let's proceed first in the flowchart. So I will present our flowchart. So this is our flowchart. So we're going to start with start. Using those symbols from start, process, decision, connector, and end. So start is when user will choose either encrypt will type 1 or decrypt will type 2 from a text from a file. Choose between 1 or 2. Then if user choose 1, continue to encrypt, and if false, proceed to decrypt, and if it's not between the two choices, then go to start again. Okay, let's continue. If we choose between 1 and 2, between the encrypt or decrypt, it continues to the function of exist file text, which is user will input her or his name, his existing file name. Then does the file exist? If it's not, it will be error, and if it's true, reading from a file and close the file, then proceed to the next process, which is open the file of subtable that text, and if it's null, turn to an error, and if it's false, continue to read the subtable file with the column 1 and column 2 and close the file. From the first function, so with the existing file text will represent as test, and the substitution of column 1 and column 2. If user choose encryption, continue to for loop condition that file text have to be less than 31, and going down to check with the if else condition, check file test if equal to column 1 and proceed to file test equal will be equal to column 2, and else counter plus plus will go back to check. Counter plus plus go to check. And then after the true statement of this one, it will proceed to the input. User have to input her or his output file name, then print encrypted, then open the output file, then close encrypted, and stop. It means end of the program. And how about the decryption? It was an identical with the encryption. So, except in the part of if-else condition, because we just switch the position of column 1 and column 2. Like in this part, if check file test equal to column 2, then file test will be equal to column 1. So that is the only change between the encryption. Then after the true statement, user will input his or her output file name, then print the decrypted and open the output file and close the decrypted and stop as end of the program. And that's all about is the flowchart of the program. You can proceed now.
Okay, so we will now proceed to the presentation of the program. So first, Wayne will discuss int main and the function for getting the text from the file.
So this is the main function of the code where we execute all the program. From here, we initialize integer call1 and call2 array, each has 100 elements, and in decrypt to store the user input. character test array CH and B, and bool process CH and B. In the main function, we have and the other that redirects the user to the encrypt function if it is true, and decrypt function if it is false. And for the exist file text function, uh, the existing file text function is made to find the text file and get the strings to be stored inside the test array. First, we declare a file pointer exist file, a string file name where the user input will be stored, and an integer I. The statement if condition is made to find the text file name that was stored in the string file name. We will be using the fopen function that performs read. The mentioned file name does not exist, therefore equals to null, and input will be shown as an error. Else, the program will proceed to the while loop statement that reads the end of file of exist file, and then repeat the fscanf function to read each character inside the text file and increment integer I element of the test array. Once the loop met the condition, the fclose function will now close the stream. So that's all for existing file text function.
So next, we have here the function for the substitution. So now, the program is to read the substitution table, which is stored in a text file named subtable.txt. In the first column, it indicates the original ASCII values of the characters. And in the second column, it contains the ASCII values that will be substituted to the original values. So we have here the function void substitution, and it has parameters which are two int arrays, call1 and call2, which both have the size of 100. We declare the file pointer, which is file, and also an integer variable I. So in the function, the text file subtable.txt will be read so that the ASCII values will be stored into the integer arrays. So we are to use fopen. So applying the syntax, we are to assign the file pointer with the function fopen. The parameters for the function will be the file name, which is subtable.txt, and our mode, which is R or read. So if the function is null, then the program will display an error message and the program will be exited. If it is not null, then I is assigned with a value of 0, and we have a while loop. In the loop, we use the function feof, where it checks if the end of the file associated with the given file stream has been reached or not. So while it is not feof file, the function fscanf will read the contents of the text file. So we have fscanf, and in the parameters, file is the input file stream to read data from. Next, we have the format, modulus D, which is the format specifier for a decimal integer, and backslash T means that there is a tab in between the two integers in the text file. The first integer is the value in the first column of the text file, while the next integer is the value in the second column of the text file. The values in the text file will be assigned to the integer arrays. So the value in the first column will be stored in the array call1, while the values in the second column will be stored in the array call2. As I is incremented, the loop will continue to read the contents of the text file and assign it as the next element in the integer arrays until it reaches the end of file. After that, all the contents of the text file are assigned to the int arrays, and we are now to close the file using the function fclose. So now we will now proceed to the encryption function.
On the encryption functions, there are three arrays. There is a task, the character task, int call one, and int call two. There's a pointer function which is named encrypted, and there is also variables with int k, int j, string output. Um, we start with the for loop. which checks it checks it basically makes a loop where it checks tests which is equal to column one. If it's not equal, then it's gonna add the j, increment j to one, plus plus. Else, if if not, then we go to check. Then at the end, we're gonna put input out. We're gonna print input output file name where we print out the file name based on the input, and we equip it with an fopen output c underscore string, which means we open the string with write. Then we print it with encrypted and percentage s, which means string on test. Then we print it, and in the end we print open the output file to check the encrypted text. Thank you. So we can check if it's encrypted. Then we close the file.
Okay, for the last part, which is the decryption function, it happens to be the easiest to create. Why? Because the decryption function is almost identical to the encryption function, except for in the for loop, the call to and call one switch places to create a decryption of the originally encrypted file. And it's almost identical except for those two, which is easy enough to do. That's most of it. I am There's no point in repeating the same thing for encryption and decryption. Thank you po.
So now let's have a test run of the program. So this will be the text file that we will first encrypt. So let's run the program. So we will choose one since we are to encrypt the text file. So the existing file name is test.txt. So the output file name, let's just say it is output.txt. So it says that we are to check now the encrypted text. So let's now see the encrypted text. So as we can see, the text file is now encrypted. So now let's try to decrypt the file. So now we will choose 2 and the file name is output.txt. So for the output file name, let's say it is decrypted.txt. And as we can see, the encrypted text file is now returned to its original state. So that is all for our presentation today. Thank you and God bless.